Welcome to the Saints post-game show. Big win by the Saints in Seattle, 13-10. Although the score might not seem like it was a big win, it was a grind-em-out kind of win, and that's a great win in anybody's book, especially Coach Sean Payton getting to head home with the team with a W. And bring in John DeShazer, who was live in Seattle after that game. In the end, it was the defense, John, that really stepped up and sealed this one. What did you like about their performance?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, Aaron, the most thing is they gave up the one big play, and then they rebounded from that. I mean, the 84-yard touchdown could have been a dispiriting play, but they were able to overcome that. They overcame some personal foul penalties, and they were able to stick with it and stick with it and stick with it. Continue to get stops, got some crucial sacks down the stretch. And it was enough. I mean, it was enough for this defense to be able to hold on. They really rose up big, especially after that first touchdown. I thought, they might be a little bit shaky after that one, but they really buckled down. And this was really a great game by Demario Davis. I thought he showed up really big for this defense. Had a couple of sacks and tackles, and just the all-around game he played really led this unit.
Absolutely, you mentioned it. 5 sacks by the defense. A defense that had only had 8 sacks on the first 5 games coming into this game really stepped up in a big way and put in a lot of pressure on quarterback Geno Smith. And again, after that big play that they let up in the first quarter, they really locked in and they were able to help deliver the win for the Saints in this one against the Seahawks. Now on the other side, with the offense, led by Jameis Winston, it wasn't a flashy win, but it was an effective one, and much thanks to our kicking game for once. That really came out in a big way to help us get this win with 2 field goals by Brian Johnson. John, what did you like about the offensive side of the ball?
Well, Brian Johnson could retire right now, but Jameis Winston really had some nice throws. He just didn't get the results that I thought he really deserved on a couple of deep ones, especially. But we got Coach Payton coming in, so here we go.
You guys hear me okay? I'll wait till you finish, Coach. I'm busted. It was a good win. Obviously, always a tough place to play on the road. Dealing with the noise. Thought our defense really played well after the one explosive early on. We knew it was going to be one of those games that field position was going to be important, ball security was going to be important, and I think preparing in our mind for what we thought the weather was going to be like, maybe it wasn't quite that. I've never heard of bomb typhoon, but that kind of gets your attention, and I thought we, for the most part, handled the weather. Kicker did a great job, and I thought in the special teams, the kicking game, we did some good things too. So, any questions?
Sean, in the first half, Alvin just kind of took control of it.
If you remember 2 years ago, well, but 2 years ago, it was kind of a back and forth, low scoring, not much. And in the 2-minute drill, we hit him on a screen that put us up. And that was pretty significant. It was Teddy's first start. And, you're always wanting to get the quarterback going a little bit. They play a lot of zone. And even in the single safety zone, they're really going to be into the hook areas deep. And I thought Jameis did a good job, especially in that 2-minute drill. That was significant when you can score like that and then start the half with the football. But we got a lot of soft zone in that. If you looked at I was asked at the end of the half, why Alvin so much, and a lot of that was based on the depth of the underneath coverage. So Jameis was smart enough to, keep dumping it to him. Typically, a good 2-minute drill, there's always an underneath throw or two to the runners, and this was no different. So then it tightened up a little bit more in the second half.
It's pretty smart if you get the third and that guy who's open there.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, listen, man, they're competitive, and we knew kind of it was going to be that type of game. I thought There was a couple drives where they got extended a little bit because of penalties. We knew that crew was calling the most coming into this game by far, both on offense and defensive fouls. And sure enough, I don't know what the totals were, but there were a lot of fouls called, and that was kind of on par with where they're at. They're first of 17, so we'll get a chance to look at them.
Did you get an explanation on Marcus?
Yeah, his was not roughing the passer. It was a helmet to helmet on the pass rush. So I don't think anyone was looking for that, and Sean explained it, and certainly I wasn't looking for it either. But that's what the foul was.
You guys didn't try to get a jump on that first field goal attempt.
No. We were fortunate though, but it wasn't like a hard count or anything.
Knowing how tight they're playing the game, were you getting concerned at all between, Metcalf and
Yeah, because you don't want to bring 140 people to Seattle from New Orleans and lose because it gets away from you. Everyone's counting on everyone, and I get it. You want to be competitive, but I think that's a sign of a team that eventually you know how to win and to win and to win and to win, and that becomes everything. That becomes everything. More important than anything else, it's leaving with another win. And it's a young team. We're still preaching that message, but pretty soon you expect it. But then there's certain things, I've been in tight playoff games where personal fouls like that, everyone's counting on you. No different than ball security, really. We're counting on, if you're holding the ball, if you've got everyone's counting on you.
So what was kind of the idea when you turned around and handed it to Alvin on 3rd and 10?
Yeah, well, look, we're right outside the cusp of field goal range. And I knew we'd be getting a soft zone, and I knew we were getting kind of an edge rush defense up the field. And so it was a little gap scheme, a little power scheme. And, the idea was maybe to get 7 yards and get in field goal range. That honestly is what I was thinking. I knew it was going to be a soft zone, and we felt like the way the ends were rushing, that's where different than a screen play, just a gap scheme that would be in the gun. I think that was important too.
Sean, you said last week that because of what was potentially coming weather-wise, you thought the offense had to change a little bit. When you get here and you see what it's like now, and does it really change at all? Do you have to switch back to what your original plan was?
Well, we worked all week on a plan. We worked all week on what we like in the run game, what we like in the pass game. And, as you get closer to the game, I think you go through in your mind how the game might unfold. We had a playoff game here in 13 where it was windy, wet, and so you just have to pay attention to the now and the present. And I think that I can't speak for last night's game, but that seemed damp and windy, and this ended up being a little bit better than, as a coach, you prepare for, you're telling them, and so I think overall it was a little bit less of a factor than I would have thought based on what I saw on the weather forecast.
John, a lot of good defensive individual performances. What more can you say about Demario Davis?
Yeah, look, man, I just love the way he leads, the way he plays with enthusiasm. He's really developed into not just run but pass as well. He's someone that has good instincts, can close the cushion on a run or a play in space. He tackles well. He's playing well, and I'm sure when we look at the tape tomorrow, we'll see a lot of good efforts. It was a good, hard-fought win. It's tough.
That last defensive sequence in particular, you got replays at Demario, Jenkins.
Yeah. Obviously, when you get a sack, in a final drive like that, it's significant. I don't know what the numbers are, but as soon as they're off schedule, and you can sit at the sticks. Tough to be a quarterback. So it's one of those things you're always wanting to avoid. But I thought it was going to be a low-scoring game. We thought about going for it early on. We kicked our first field goal. I think they did the same thing. Points were going to be at a premium tonight, and I don't know what the charts say, but I felt like points were going to be important. All right, thank you.
Did you think that you would have this kind of impact with the word on using that? You would use it so many different ways, 30 touches. Did you think coming in, this was kind of be
In this game? I ain't know what to expect. All I know is what we game plan for and what we did during the week. And every game has a life of its own. So that was just the flavor of this week. Ended up getting a lot of touches.
You like playing up here, man? That's like 2 games, 2 huge games.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. It's definitely a nice environment. Every time we come up here, the weather's shitty, but other than that, it's cool.
But it wasn't as bad as what you guys thought it was going to be this game. After all the talk of the top cyclone and all.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't know. Sean was like a cyclone or something. He said something about a tropical something. I'm like, man, I'm looking at the weather. It's changing every other hour. I'm like, I don't care. Whatever it is, it is. It drizzled on and off. It was a little cold, but, I don't think, I think Sean said it. He hit the nail on the head. You kind of just stay in the now. Obviously, when it started coming down a little bit, we adjust. And when it's windy a little bit, we adjust. But, overall, I think our game plan stayed pretty true.
Alvin, where did you see happen on the touchdown? Did you see James drop it?
He dropped the ball? Oh, no, I didn't see that. No, I didn't see it. But I just, defensively, they played a little zone look. I just had a gang of space. So it was really I didn't even run the route that I was supposed to run. I just sat in a little void and kind of got the ball and scored. So adjustments. Huh? It was really like an angle in and then back out. But I kind of went in and saw that I had the cushion and just stayed right there. And then made it happen.
I was kind of joking that you were so open that he had time to drop the snap.
Yeah, they played. I didn't expect them to play that defense right there, but they did. It cost them right there.
Oh, were they trying to sell out to stop the run early, just considering the conditions and everything?
Yeah, and they're good. They're a good front. Don't get me wrong. They play hard. The whole defense, they play hard. But we knew up front it was gonna be a tough game to run the ball. We felt like we had some pretty clear looks. Sometimes when you get teams that you line up and you feel like you know what they're doing. Those are the teams that play the hardest because they do what they do so well. They got Bobby, they got Carlos, they got Puna up in the middle. They got a gang of guys, Jamal out there, and they making plays, coming up and hitting. So you kind of just got to stay true and try to stay ahead of the chains. And you can't be discouraged when you get 2 yards and 3 yards. And, it's going to come.
In the second half, it looked like they were just straight up doubling.
Yeah. And I was saying it to Bobby. I'm like, dang, y'all doubling me. Come on, give me some space. But that's what any smart defense does. And then you got Pete Carroll over there. They know what to do. They adjust, and they adjusted second half and kind of blocked that up for me. So it opens up other things though. So it's all good.
Can you describe what you saw in that 3rd and 10 run? I think last drive, picking it up.
Yeah. So it's just a basic. It's just a pull play, and it was a great block on the outside by LJ. We got a good pull, and it was pretty open. It had some space, so Sean dialed it up at the right time, and we went ahead and got the first down. That was huge. And when he called it, I was like, all right, it's either gonna be feast or famine. So it was a good play.
What goes through your head when you see Jameis converting multiple first downs with his feet?
Man, he could do it. I'm not surprised. I'm just like, don't get hit. Go, because he teeter on the edge a little bit. Like, he might keep running and get hit. So I'm like, man, just go down. But he can make plays like that, man. He got heart, and he kind of got a knack for it. I feel like he can do it more. But when he does, I'm happy. I know something good gonna happen.
rain wasn't that bad, but I was always wondering, like, is it miserable to play in that, or do you really only notice it when you're standing on the sidelines and you're not moving?
It's not. It wasn't that bad to where it would be miserable. Like if it was a constant rain, like a constant heavy rain, then I'd be pissed. Like, damn. But during the game I can't say nothing. But after and then you got to win. So then I can talk shit about the weather.
From the press box, it just looks like it's raining.
Yeah, it looked terrible, don't it? Yeah, it's all right though.
Yes, you win. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Nice to have the guys back out there in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, it felt good to Ron, Eric, just having them back out there, and then C's going back to guard and, playing where he's comfortable at. Pete went down a little bit. Throck, I mean, like I say, every time something like this happens, I mean, we got guys that'll step up and fill the gap. So Throck stepped in and did what he had to do. So, I mean, we playing good football, man. We can still get better. I mean, I talked to Jameis about it just now. We got so much more we could work on and be good at, and to where we can get this offense like really explosive, to where we know we can be. So, I mean, it's just a constant process. So we always working. Cool. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Alvin. Safe travels tomorrow.
That was Saints running back Alvin Kamara. Even though he's a running back, he definitely had an effect on this game with his receiving yards. He had 128 yards receiving. That is just 11 shy of his career high in receiving. 179 total offensive yards by Kamara, and he also had a touchdown, big touchdown in the second quarter that gave the Saints the eventual lead and win. So good to go out there to Seattle and get the win. And now that he said that the game is over and they got the win, he can complain about the weather a little bit. It wasn't always a fun game to play in with a little bit of rain there. But, he said after it's all said and done, you got out there, you got the win. None of it matters anymore. I'm going to bring John DeShazer back in to kind of talk about Kamara's play in this game. He did become the fastest player to ever reach 3,000 yards receiving, 3,000 yards rushing. In 66 games, he receives that mark. And that's 4 games faster than the last guy who did it in 70 games. And that was Roger Craig, who played for the 49ers. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, and he has won 3 Super Bowls. So this is a very tough feat that Kamara has achieved. John, what is it about him and the success that he just brings day in and day out to the football field?
Well, that's the magic question. I mean, he's just really good at it. He's got a knack for it. He's got great balance. He's stronger than you think. He's got deceptive speed. He's got great hands as a receiver. And, there's nothing that he can't do. I think coming in, people wonder whether or not he could run between the tackles. In fact, I know that, his coach Joel Thomas said, one of the things they wanted to see was whether he could stick his nose in the briar patch. Well, he's shown that. He's shown that he can run it inside, or he can run it outside, and, he can certainly catch the ball. He said he ran the wrong route when he got the touchdown in this one, but that's kind of Alvin. Things just work out for him. He knows how to get to the end zone. He knows how to get open. He knows how to make this offense run, and this offense is not quite the same without him. If they don't have him in this game, how much offense do they generate because of the things he's able to do and the attention he's able to draw?
170 yards from him alone. And in the first quarter, the Saints themselves, they only netted 40 yards. So the offense as a whole was able to really rebound after that first quarter. And let's hear from the defense and Cameron Jordan.
Why don't you guys tell me you're doing this live? Hi, people. All right. Yeah, eventually it's going to crack. You got to crack that seal. Love that it took me 6 games. But I think that, once Marcus came back, he showed a lot of power off the edge. We took advantage where we could and sort of became a sack party. I think Double D cleaned up, but he had like 2 or 3 sacks by the end of the night, too. Crucial. We're going to put him on some Rice grip work, but that's for another reason. The interception, if you want to know, Kat. You're looking at me like you don't know what I know that you know that I know that you know. Oh, okay.
How much you guys enjoyed being able to close out a game the way you did today, just like the game's in y'all's hands and put them in a 4th and 28 situation?
I think that in a game like this where things get close, things get a little ugly towards the end, it builds confidence to be able to come into a game like this and close it out the way we did. It wasn't. In my mind, it wasn't as close as it was. I think that our defense played with a lot of speed and intensity and the right mindset the entire game, albeit that one play explosive, the one explosive that they had from the King Orc Smurf. Mr. Blue Hair. I'm spazzing on his name. DK Metcalf. Whew. Sorry.
Again, what adjustments did you guys make after that big play like that?
Nothing. We just played our defense. I think we had everything. We had the right game plan. We have to execute the way we know how to execute. I think they have a talented wide receiver core. I think they are clearly adjusting to their new quarterback at helm. But they have a great defense, and you have leaders like we witnessed. Battles between two of the top linebackers in this game going at it. It's pretty fun to be a part of. I think with our defensive line getting healthier and healthier each and every week, it's going to be even more fun. As we get healthier and healthier every week, it's going to become even more fun. That didn't. Okay, yes. When Marcus came back, I was excited. We have a package where it's me, Tano, Marcus, and I'm not getting more and more excited for maybe the next C lineman coming back, but it's getting good.
Yeah, how about that guy? David.
I don't want to talk about it until it's there. It's like trying to open up a Christmas present too early. You just got to wait your turn.
Is he going to talk your ear off when he gets back?
David, not mine. Probably the person in front of him. I'm gonna send him flowers after. I mean, that's a lot of anger. He's just been like rattling the cage. I know he has. Can't wait for my guy to get back. It's lifting and getting stronger. Body's gonna be fresh. I mean,
Ken, when you guys get weeks down into the schedule in this game and you look back on what is obviously the final score on, what will stand out besides just having a win?
What is the question there?
When you get further along in the schedule, you look back on this win, what do you think is going to stand out the most besides?
I hope it'll just be the win. Other than the confidence that we get for the defense for finishing out like this, as we get further away from here, we look back. I hope it tallies up more and more wins. At the end of the year, it doesn't matter, how close the games were. It matters about the win column. And so, as we try and get to our goal, we have to get more and more W's.
I know you guys have had some tough games out here before, so how does it make you feel when you think about the last two visits here that y'all are able to come out with wins, considering both times y'all have been kind of compromised and the people you've had? Like those Teddy's first start last time you're in Seattle, and then y'all come out here and y'all still don't have everyone.
And the question is,
how does that make you feel, like, confidence-wise in the team?
in the grand scheme of things,
Just knowing how, like, kind of y'all used to play here.
in the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, it's about getting this win. Again, I think it's a great confidence builder. I think, as we get healthier, even on the offensive side of the ball, we saw Teron come back, you saw Traquan come back. Defensive side of the ball, you saw Quan get back to the field. We have some talent that is still coming back, and so hopefully we're only going to get stronger from here. As much fun as we had tonight, I think there's still a lot of places we can clean stuff up. We did let explosive go, and had we not, I think we could have held them to a lower score than what they had.
I think someone said, like, 9 after that big play, like, the defense allowed, like, 120 total yards of offense or something of that number.
Noise. I don't know if there was a question in there, but yes, I think the defense responded well. Again, they had the huge explosive, and we go to the sideline, and again, it's the second series. We go, hey, we're playing our type of defense. We're playing our football, and that's what we have to rely on. When you have guys like Marshawn, who is a stout corner, you had one of the best in the league. You got, everybody from Roby to Young Saeed to Chauncey, Malcolm Jenkins, Demario, Quan, my young buck JoJo Bronson even had his first game at Seattle. There's a lot of energy flying around that defense, and I think it boded well for us.
Were you just watching that Marshawn Metcalf interaction the whole time? Was wondering what was about to happen next?
Yeah, I mean, I think. How do I PC this one? I think that, when they're trying to create a tougher identity than what they are, that's where you get a lot of more chippery talk. But again, we go back to our basics. We play the football that we want to play, and I think it takes care of itself. We still had a lot of penalties, and we can clear that up, and that could have ended up hurting us more than it did.
I have no idea what you're doing when you're on the sideline of the offense on the field. Do you ever watch AK do his thing and just?
Yeah, I see the replays. Yeah, we're the defense is over here. Whatever we're doing, we're focused on trying to improve our play from the series before, or installing something new. And so you look at the replay, you're like, AK's AKing. The math is mathing.
Anything else for Cam?
All right, cool. Nice to see everybody. It's great seeing you in person.
That was Cameron Jordan. One thing that he mentioned that they have talked about as a team is the need to clean up some of those penalties. The Saints, they had 7 penalties on the night, 90 yards from those penalties, 4 first downs that they allowed the Seahawks to get off of penalties. Definitely not something that they want to continue as the season goes on. But it's good to hear from both of the players, and Alvin Kamara and Cameron Jordan, saying that they've already started talking about the things that they need to fix. Even after a win, they're taking no time to celebrate. Kamara said that he spoke with Jameis Winston right after the game and said, we need to fix this, this, and this. There's things that we can still clean up and improve. And of course, you could see the smile on Cameron Jordan's face when he was talking about the other players that they're going to be getting back onto the football field. Took some time to talk about David Onyemata. Said he's been working really hard in the gym, lifting a lot of weights. So it'll be fun to see him back on the football field. And we're going to take a minute here to hear from our quarterback, Jameis Winston.
Game went exactly like you thought it would. I mean, you thought you were going to have incredible weather, and next thing you know, it's not that bad at all, and it's a shootout, and not really. And did the game play out the way you thought it would?
Yeah, we wanted to win, and that's what happened. So it played out just like we wanted.
How nice is it to have AK to lean on like you were able to, especially in that first half, especially in that 2-minute drive? Just having him kind of an outlet to go move.
Yeah, I talk about how great of a player he is and how healthy he is to this offense, just in general. AK is one of the most dominant players in this league, so it's always exciting when you put the ball in his hands and watch the things that he does.
And when you're dropping the snap on that touchdown pass, and you look up and you see him open, that doesn't probably feel pretty good.
Yeah, it was a great call, and I'm happy he was able to get in there.
Was it boost getting Teron and Eric back in the lineup, and then you had Pete go down, but you had Brock come in?
Yeah, it was just good. It was good to get in the rhythm, get E and T back. Those guys are leaders up there on that line. So it was just good to see them, have a great game and stay healthy.
How difficult were those conditions out there, especially just with the wind? I don't know if the rain was.
No, I mean it wasn't that bad. It just was a gritty game, man. They played good football and we played some good football. So it was definitely a tough out game.
Was there a more concerted effort today to try to get some of those deep passes going? It seems like the ball's rocketing out of your hand on some of them.
I mean, I wish we could have hit a few, but like I said, we're going to continue to get better. Happy to have Kevin up. He was open on a few of them. I wish I could have connected with him. But like I said, we're going to continue to get better and get healthy in that receiver room and just keep working.
Get healthy in that receiver room is that about Mike Thomas? You looking forward to him getting back healthy?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm looking back for Mike to get back. But it was good to have TQ back out there playing at a high level. So I'm happy that he was able to get in the groove a little bit.
Cameron's got you guys having an animated conversation on the sideline. I think it might have been third or fourth.
Who?
You and Traquan. Just heat of the moment type of stuff? Or?
No, just communication. We had to be on the same page, and that's it.
Was there something that happened on that specific play? I think that was the play that was upset. Like that kind of prompted that, or you're all just trying to?
No, we were just communicating. You know, when everyone gets to talking, I just wanted to be me and him. You know, so that's all.
James, how much do you second guess running sometimes, taking off the ball? Tonight you had, I think, 4 plays were nice gains, first downs. Do you ever like second guess yourself on when to go and when not? So I know you're always looking downfield.
Yeah, I'm always trying to pass. You know, I'm always trying to look downfield and get a completion. It's not really second guessing. I'm just feeling the situation and trying to assess the coverage and see if I can get the ball down the field and then take off and run.
Do you want the run to be kind of the last resort thing?
Absolutely.
Anything else for James?
Doesn't it take a while to get back on the same page? Like if a receiver has been gone as long as Traquan has? And I'm talking about any receiver that's coming back. Like how long is that process usually before you two can kind of start communicating without really, I guess, having to discuss it? I mean, that's got to be difficult.
I think it's just a feel. You know, this is first game back. Tough environment to play. So just making sure that everyone hears the play correctly and everyone is on the same page. But in terms of talent and execution, like he's just an incredible receiver. So it was good to get him back. Good to get him a good experience against a tough defense.
In the second half, it looked like the Seahawks were just like straight out doubling Alvin.
Yeah.
In that case, I mean, I'm assuming that just means you know that other guys have one-on-one in that case.
Yeah. We just got to win on outside, and we will. They had a great game plan in the second half of doubling AK, and we're gonna have an answer for that. All right, thank you.
Brian will be next. Brian Johnson.
That's the first game to remember, huh?
Without a doubt. No, yeah, unreal feeling. Couldn't have kind of written it up better myself.
What was just your thought process, NFL debut here in Seattle, in front of a wild crowd, bad weather, and they relied on you?
Just not to think about those things, not to overthink things. Yeah, no, just kind of go out there and do what I've done plenty of times before. So yeah, that was kind of my mentality coming into this game.
What was it like pregame, just going out there, the wind's kind of swirling around, and the rain's kind of falling? Like, what's kind of going through your head when you're...
It was tough trying to see what the wind was doing because it was changing constantly throughout pregame and the game itself. So kind of just sticking with my plan that I had coming into it and really focusing on just hitting my ball and hitting good contact that will cut through kind of the wind that's given to me, whatever's going to be out there and stuff. So rain, I'm not as concerned about rain as I am wind. I'll focus on the wind more than the rain. Yeah.
Is it I imagine it's different going from one end zone to the other because they have the open end zone on one side.
You know, I didn't notice too big of a difference in one end zone or the other because it was a pretty consistent wind pattern across the whole field. It wasn't anything too crazy.
Brian, was there much of a mental reset you go through when you go on the field to kick a field goal, they jump off, and now you got to go back over, you got to come back out and kind of reset? I
mean, no, it kind of helped me honestly because I got to get out there from the sideline and really get a gauge of the wind out there. That like towards the middle of the field and stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is what it's really doing. Go back to the sideline, figure it out and stuff, and head back out. So yeah, no, it wasn't too big of a mental reset. I went back over and hit like one ball in the net, and then I was ready to roll.
This is the first time we've talked to you since you signed here. What was the process like for you getting from Chicago to here last week?
I got the call 2 Mondays ago at like 10 p.m. In Chicago, and was on a plane the next morning and got down here Tuesday. But like the Saints were on a bye week that week, so it was weird because no one was really in the building and stuff. So I had like one quick like workout with the special teams coach and everything, and then I was off for the weekend, so it was weird.
What's Will is active, is like designated to return from IR. You know, like, how do you kind of view it?
I mean, I'm looking to take advantage of the opportunities. You know, some rookies, especially kickers and punters and stuff, it takes a year or two to kind of get into the league and kind of find your niche and stuff. So I'm just looking to take advantage of the opportunities that I'm given and everything.
You had a chance to talk to Will about even what it's like kicking with Sean as the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, I the one thing that I did ask him, I was like, how is Sean when it comes to like going for it on fourth down and stuff? Like that was my one thing when it came to like his specific thing. Like, is he more aggressive or conservative when it comes to that stuff? But no, Will's been great, and you know, Blake and Zach have been so awesome the last 2 weeks. Just helped me get comfortable and stuff, getting ready for this game.
Anything else, Brian? Thank you, sir.
Cool, appreciate it.
You have to hear from the kicker after that performance, especially because he got his first ever NFL field goal when he came out and ended that drive. It was a 10-minute, 16-second drive that ended in that first score field goal for the Saints. And it was a long one because it was the longest drive in the NFL so far this year. The amount of effort that this team has put into this win today is pretty incredible when you look at some of these stats. We talked about Alvin Kamara and his production. He accounted for 58.9% of the offensive production by this Saints team. So that guy alone is doing a lot for this team. And then you add in those two really big field goals by a new guy on the squad who said he showed up during the bye week and didn't even know where anybody was, how to get used to the flow of things because nobody was around. Everybody was home for the bye week. And so he kind of practiced some by himself, and then he's getting on a flight and he's in Seattle. So really big game by Brian Johnson. Happy to have him be a part of his team, signed off of the Bears practice squad earlier last week. We're waiting for a couple more players here, and we'll wrap things up on the post-game show before we have everybody back here at home October 31st against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Tom Brady and company will be here in the Caesars Superdome, and it is Halloween. That's the 31st. There's going to be a big toga party in Champion Square ahead of that game. That game's at 3:25. It's going to be on Fox, and everything in Champion Square is going to kick off around noon. There are prizes for people who dress up the best, so just keep that in mind and start planning. You have a couple days, even though it is a short week. I don't know if we can bring in John Jashazer again, talk about a little bit of what's going to go into this next part of the week. It's going to be a long trip back. The team is flying back all day tomorrow. So they're going to have a shorter week before they get to really start practicing for the Bucks. It's going to be a quick turnaround, and it's going to be a big matchup too. Divisional matchup right now. The Bucks, they're leading the division at 1-0 so far in division play. They're 6-1 overall. They're coming off a 38-3 win over Chicago. The other teams in the division this past weekend, it was the Panthers who had a 25-3 loss to the Giants. The Falcons, they had a 30-28 win over the Dolphins. It's kind of a tight race right now. I mean, the Bucks obviously at 6-1, they are at the top of the division, but the Falcons, they're 3-3. The Panthers are 3-4. The Saints are starting to get a lot of players back on the football field, so things are really trending in the right direction now at 4-2. John, I think you're ready. I think you're back with me. I know you're dealing with a lot in the locker room there, but kind of looking ahead, how can the Saints build off of this win in preparation for the Bucks?
Well, simple. You continue to get healthy, and you continue to work on the things that didn't work so well in this game. I mean, you want to be more efficient in the passing game. Obviously, you want to prevent those explosive plays on defense, especially against a team like Tampa Bay. You want to make them work when they do score, because they can put up loads of points quickly, and you don't want to get into a run and gun contest with that kind of team right now. And the Saints probably have the kind of defense where they feel like they match up pretty well with them. So hopefully they'll be able to limit those explosive plays plays. And offensively, again, you got to be a little bit more efficient. There were some big plays there that were to be had, and they just couldn't quite connect on them. You heard Jameis Winston mention it. And so hopefully they'll be a little bit more efficient in those areas, because you are going to have to score against a team as efficient as Tampa Bay is offensively. So those are some of the things they want to clean. But obviously the penalties. I mean, I thought a couple of times they might have lost the cool a little bit, lost the composure a little bit. And so those are things that, you can rectify pretty quickly and pretty easily, just maintaining the proper, demeanor on defense, and hopefully not, picking up a couple of cheap personal fouls.
Stadium, but Tom Brady joined the Manning cast, and he was watching the game, breaking down some stuff with Payton and Eli Manning, and he said that he's already started studying up on rookie defensive back Paulson Adebo. So he's locked in. He's ready. They just played yesterday, but you know how he works. Can't play as long as he has without putting in the work and studying and preparing. As we look back at this game, I know it was tough with the weather, tough with the crowd noise. John, what are some things that really stood out to you that you thought that the Saints did well?
Yeah, I think more than anything, they just kind of hung in there. They were able to just kind of, grit one out. Didn't play particularly great, but they were able to just kind of grit one out again. Missed some plays on offense. They gave the one big play on defense, but they were able to just kind of hold it together long enough until they were able to pull it out at the end. The defense wants to be on the field at the end of games, and they showed kind of why they want to be on the field at the end of games. They can make pivotal plays. They were able to get the stop when they had to in the second half. Now, of course, it helps that Seattle misses a couple of field goals for them, but they had to get the stops to put them in the position to miss those field goals. They still play pretty good red zone defense. They still get some critical stops. They didn't force a turnover, but they were able to kind of, rush Geno Smith and get him off his spots. And I thought they did a really good job of harassing him and kind of getting him out of rhythm. And, especially after that big play where they settled down. And it was one of those things where, we saw a lot of this, in previous years where they might give up a big play and then they kind of settle in, get the communication together, tackle a little bit better and get it a little bit more efficient. And that's kind of what happened in this one. They gave up the big one and they were able to settle down and not give up anything else of that magnitude and make Seattle work for everything else they got. So, that's one of the things that really came together as this game progressed along.
4-yard touchdown pass from Geno Smith to DK Metcalf. And it was actually the only time that Metcalf was targeted in this ball game. It was 10 minutes into the first quarter. Took 2 plays, 51 seconds. So, yes, it was a big explosive play. But it was only one that the Seahawks really had in this ball game. After that, you mentioned the 2 field goals that they missed. It was a 50-yarder and a 53-yarder. So they were really having to stretch themselves because they were having a hard time getting into the Saints' territory. Coming into this game, we talked about the red zone offense and defense. That area, again, was really good for the Saints. They were able to get production, a field goal and a touchdown in both trips that they had here tonight. John, what continues to stand out to you about how efficient the Saints are in that area?
Well, it's just the decision making. You don't want to turn it over down there. Now, of course, they prefer touchdowns in those situations, so they didn't get exactly what they wanted. But you've got to be efficient enough to at least not turn it over and to get the field goals out of it. So they're able to do that. And again, probably a little bit of a frustrating night for the offense because again, you get in those situations. You want the 7, you don't want the 3, but you'll take the 3, especially in a situation like this where the wind and the conditions might become a factor, and you're playing good enough defense to where you're able to make that 3 stand up. So, that was the positive from it. But, certainly they want to get touchdowns in those situations. And, again, defensively, they're able to step up to it. DK Metcalf, you mentioned, he got the big play, and, he was able to channel his inner, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and, really kind of get under Marshawn Lattimore's skin a little bit. But he wasn't able to make any more decisive plays in terms of scoring, and that's the main thing. Even though Marshawn had a couple of personal fouls, he's able to rebound, play his game, and not have that have a big detrimental effect on the game. And that's one of those things that he will clean up, I'm sure, as he goes into the Tampa game, because look, he's going to be matched up against Mike Evans in the next game, and he and Mike Evans don't like each other. So
I
he's
think
going to have to
maybe
maintain
I would
his
be more
poise
comfortable
in that
going
one also.
up against Mike Evans in a fight than I would DK Metcalf. I really have to give it to Marshawn Lattimore for even trying to start something there because it got real testy. You mentioned it. They were going at it early in this ball game and it just continued. But it is just the passion and the energy that Lattimore brings to this game. It helps across the entire defense, the way that they have come into this season and taken over, knowing that offensively, they're working through some new things. They're working through some different players on the football field. Obviously, a new quarterback in Jameis Winston, and a lot of different players throughout. One player, two players really, that we missed in this ball game today, quarterback Taysom Hill and Deontay Harris. Harris, big playmaker in the last game at Washington. Not having both of those guys on the football field might have had a factor, but didn't end up in a factor in the win or loss column. Looks like we're going to speak to one of those defensive guys in Demario Davis.
How y'all doing? Good. How are you doing? Outstanding.
Tomorrow, the way you guys bounced back after that touchdown for them early, can you talk about that? Not really changing your game plan, just doing what you do best?
Yeah, you got to stick with the game plan. We knew they would have a tough time driving all the way down the field, just because of how our defense is set up, knowing that we could be strong against the run game, which we knew they wanted to do, run the ball and try to create play actions. And other than that, we just needed to take 14 and 16 out of the game. So we knew they would have a hard time driving it down the field, and we just wanted to stay true to that. They were able to get that explosive play. Good play by them, good player. But, we weren't going to let that derail us from what we were kind of locked in to do. You good?
How much pride do you take in how y'all finished the game? You sacked, Jenkins a sack, forcing 4th and 28 at the end of the game.
We take a lot of pride in our defense. We got to be able to play complementary football, but we have a very high standard for our group, and there's no other way that we would take it. Defense on the field with the game on the line. We're an excited group. We play with a lot of energy, but we get a little extra energy in those situations. I'm a mindset person. I'm always trying to find the positive. I definitely want that play, but the way I kind of spin it in my mind is it just means I'm getting closer and closer to getting more of them. So, I just think what you focus on is what comes to you. And that's how I look at it.
This is what you guys kind of envisioned. I asked you the other day about the pressure and the sack. I said eventually it would come. This is kind of what you envisioned for a game like this, in this type of weather.
Yeah, I told you, man. We already getting pressures. Eventually, you'll end up getting the sacks, and so, we got a good group. We have a good game plans. We've been effective with getting pressures on quarterbacks, and a lot of times that's more important because that's what, like, you just want to affect the quarterback. It's not always about getting him to the ground. If you hit him, or sometimes, if he lets the ball go and you get pressure on him, you can force an interception. Sometimes they want to take the sack. And so, sacks look good. We all like to get sacks. It looks good in the stat sheet when we finish at the top of the league every year in sacks. But it's a bigger picture. And that's why, we talked about earlier this week, we've been getting pressure on the quarterback. And so we're not going to change our game plan or be trying to panic and try to figure out what we need to do different. We just need to affect the quarterback, and if we continue to do that, we're going to be all right.
Speaking of sacks, you had 2, the team collectively had 5. Was there something that they were doing that you were able to exploit, or is it just keeping after it just as you have all year long?
It's a credit to the cover guys. If you can take away the first read and he has to hold the ball, a credit to the D coordinator and, Ryan on D-line having a good rush plan for us. And then guys just executing their job. Our mentality, it's fun to play in a defense when all you got to do is do your job and it's going to work most of the time. And, guys just did their job and, I think we were getting some pressures early on, and we weren't getting them to the ground, and we were just like, we got to find a way to get them to the ground, and we were able to do that. And so, they have a good offensive line. Gino was making his reads and doing a good job. We were just fortunate enough to get there.
You haven't watched film yet, but would you consider this one of your better games? 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, 4 tackles for loss, pass defense, almost a pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm my harshest critic, so it's kind of hard for me to find my best game or my worst game. I always just feel like it could have been better, and so, I'm certainly happy that I was able to help the team get a win. Certainly glad that our defense played as strong as we played tonight. I think that's kind of more so where I'm at in my career. They talk about a lot of the top linebackers across the league, and they kind of move those numbers around. But who's putting the best unit out on the field, right? As a Mike linebacker, you're the leader of a defense, right? And I think that's what my mentality is. Like, our defense played great tonight, and so I'm excited when the defense plays great, because I believe that's a reflection of how well anchored players on your defense are doing.
Speaking of that, Marcus Davenport was back, Juan Alexander was back. Just how beneficial is that, getting more guys back?
It's a lot of fun playing with those guys, some really talented guys. I don't take it for granted. And when you see our energy and excitement, you see the Juice Boys. Juice Boys, that's 2 Z's, make sure everybody get that. That energy is just because, we have a lot of fun playing with each other. Like, it's a genuine brotherhood, it's genuine love. And we just get excited for each other. And so having those guys, I know it means a lot for them to be back out there and in that type of atmosphere. I mean, you just enjoy those type of moments. Electric crowd. I don't think they realized that they was giving us energy by playing the music and crowd getting loud, and that feeds us. So, it was just a lot of fun being out there and, having our guys back out there. I know it meant a lot to them. It was just a lot of fun.
As one of the team leaders, when you're kind of watching the Marshawn, DK back and forth and flags coming out, do you say something, or do you let that work itself out by itself, I guess, especially when he's playing as well as he is?
Well, first of all, we want to be fundamentally sound. That's the big part of us. We want to be fundamentally sound between the whistles. If it's penalties happening between the whistles, that's one thing. But, sometimes guys want to be tough on the field and, talk after the play or do extra after the play. And, this is the most physical sport there is. You got 7 seconds, 8 seconds to be as physical as you want to be. If you got a point to prove it between the whistles. And so I'm never going to be the guy that let something like that fly when guys are talking to my guys, after the whistle and doing extra, because at that point you're just trying to bully somebody. And if you want to bully, I've always been the guy that's going to bully the bully. And so I think, your teammates appreciate when you have their back like that. It's not like I'm going to go out and do, I try to stay pretty level-headed between the whistles and while I'm on the field. But I'm always have my teammates back. And I think they appreciate it, and it gives them, motivation to know that they can go back and do their thing and they don't got to worry about somebody trying to come at them after the play or something.
Speaking of bullying, there was a play where I think you would push the offensive lineman back and run back. Do you remember that one? Got on it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he blocked me the play before after the whistle. So I'm like, you're going to get your chance to block me between the whistles. It was the very next play. It just so happened, okay. So, and I was trying to talk to him, and Pete probably grabbed me. He did a good job because I was a little fired up right there. But it's like, we have 6, 7 seconds between the whistles. We don't need no fake tough guys. The extra pushing after the play and talking after the play, that's not going to get any of us anywhere. It's a physical game. You're going to get your shot if you want it. And that just so happened to be the next play. So I approached that one, with a little intention and purpose.
That was just going on, just in general across all positions. The Lattimore thing was the one that everyone saw, but I guess that was.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a little chirpy and a little scrappy out there tonight, and it was an electric atmosphere. It's Monday Night Football, You know, everybody got they brothers and sisters and mamas and grandmas watching. So they, I don't know. I talk my trash, but I ain't never been, I don't understand the extra chirping and trying to prove that you tough. It's a tough game. You don't have to do that. If you tough, it'll show, between the whistles. But it was a little chirpy out there tonight. But at the end of the day, our coaches were staying on us about, understanding that the ultimate goal is to come in and get a win and not get caught up in a lot of that. And I think we stayed level-headed for the most part.
How hard is it to stay level-headed when you're chirping and pushing after the whistle?
I'm a big picture guy. I try to stay macro, and I know I'm kind of responsible for all the guys out there, and so I can't ever really lose my cool. And it's hard on the guys that the action is directed at. When somebody comes and push you after the play or try to tackle you, after the whistle's blown, or somebody come up and call you all these different names. For some reason, they never come to me. So like I'm the guy that gets to go in to defend my guys, and a lot of times I'll try to attract the energy to me because I know I'm not gonna do something to that magnitude. But they just continue to try to do little stuff. I think for the most part, everybody knows like you putting your team in jeopardy by doing something crazy, and so. Just let it go. Next play, get your shot back. Thank you, guys. Y'all be blessed.
Linebacker Demario Davis, leader of the defense, the Juice Boys, that is with 2 Z's. Don't forget it, he said. He's talking about how coming into this game, the Saints only had 8 sacks on the season. This game alone, they had 5 sacks. They knew it was going to happen at some point, but it doesn't mean that this defense hasn't had an impact on games up until this point. Currently, they are 3rd in the league in opponent completion percentage at 60.5. In the past 3 games, just under 60%. In this game alone, 48%. That's incredible numbers in the passing game, and a rushing defense that is 2nd in the league right now, only allowing 79 yards on the ground. Incredible stats by that defense. Definitely something that they should be proud of. We hope to see more of it next week. The Saints are back home in the Caesars Superdome against the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's a 3:25 kick on Fox. Make sure you get tickets. Tune into the game. Catch all of these reports, the players, coach, follow-up from tonight's game on NewOrleansSaints.com. And throughout the week, make sure you follow John DeShazer. He has all of the info always, and we appreciate him joining us on the show here today. For the Saints postgame show, great win by the Saints, 13-10 over the Seattle Seahawks in prime time. I am Erin Summers. Thank you for joining the show. Here's a look at some of the great highlights from tonight's win.
And it will be down at the 1-yard line.
It seems like 14 is winning the emotional battle and the physical battle.
Smith trying to set up the screen for Gerald Everett. Going to go as a loss. James Hurst is in there as well. Extra offensive lineman. Set it up for Kamara. Got some green in front of him now. Making some people miss. Winston has great protection. Must be great coverage too. Now Winston. The pump fake and running for the first. Listen, I don't want to say that Saints drive was really long, but the last time Seattle ran an offensive play, it was daylight. And now it's dark. And that was the first 3rd down conversion of the night by either team. They had been 0 for 10. Kamara clearing across the middle. What a run. Winston fumbled the snap. Now picks it up and throws for Kamara. And he's going to get there. Wow. Looked like a colossal mistake, and instead it turns into a touchdown.